I pretended to be reconciling with my estranged son while secretly gathering. The last time I saw my son before all this mess started was 3 years ago at his mother's funeral. We barely spoke then, just stood on opposite sides of the grave like strangers who happened to share the same grief. He was 28 then, already showing signs of the life he'd chosen, but I was too wrapped up in my own pain to see the warning signs clearly. When he walked away from me that day, I thought it was just another one of our temporary falling outs. We'd had plenty of those over the years, especially after his mother and I divorced when he was 15. But this time felt different, heavier somehow, like a door closing that might never open again. The phone call that changed everything came on a Tuesday morning in March. I was sitting in my kitchen, reading the newspaper and drinking coffee, when my neighbor called to tell me she'd seen my son's picture in the local crime section. My hands started shaking as I opened the paper to the page she mentioned. And there he was, looking haggard and hollow-eyed in a mugshot that made my heart break into 1,000 pieces. The article was brief but devastating. He'd been arrested for possession with intent to distribute, caught with enough substances to suggest he wasn't just using but selling. The bail was set at $50,000, and according to the reporter, this wasn't his first brush with the law, though previous charges had been minor enough to stay off my radar. I drove to the courthouse that afternoon, my mind racing with memories of the little boy who used to build elaborate structures with blocks and ask me endless questions about how things worked. The man I found behind the glass partition looked nothing like that curious child, his face gaunt and his eyes avoiding mine as I picked up the phone. Our conversation was awkward and stilted, full of the kind of careful politeness that strangers use with each other. He seemed surprised that I'd come, almost suspicious of my motives, but when I offered to help with bail, something in his expression shifted slightly. Not gratitude exactly, but maybe a flicker of the connection we'd once shared. I paid his bail the next morning, telling myself I was doing what any parent would do. But even then, I knew my motivations were more complicated than simple paternal duty. Part of me wanted to help him, yes, but another part was driven by a need to understand how badly things had gotten, and whether there was any way to pull him back from whatever edge he was teetering on. He came to stay at my house while awaiting trial, and for the first few days it almost felt like old times. We watched sports together, ordered pizza, made small talk about safe topics like the weather and local news. But underneath the surface civility, I could sense the tension building, the careful way he guarded his phone and the frequent trips he made to run errands that seemed to take longer than they should. The first real clue came when I found a burner phone hidden in the spare bedroom where he was staying. I'd gone in to put fresh towels on the dresser and knocked over a lamp while trying to reach behind it. The phone fell out from where it had been taped to the back of the furniture, and when I picked it up, it was still warm from recent use.